Cade's here. You can pull that up
At least I
after
hope
the
so.
next call. Cade, I recommend that you try to say everything you can in a couple minutes and then just let us answer you in case this connection doesn't work. Go.
Okay. Okay. Right. Well, I'm a bit socially awkward, so I might have to read something. I hope that's okay. And I'm a bit worried it's not relevant anymore, considering what you said about the previous question.
Okay.
But also it's slightly relevant to the stuff we care about. Basically, for about 6 years now, I've been feeling and thinking certain things, and my atheism, sort of by definition, contributes to the situation. And I've been sort of skeptical and analytical my whole life, and I never bought any religious or New Age or alternative ideas or anything. And I've had no scientific or philosophical education until I was about 18. But since then, I've sort of devoured books and lectures and debates on the internet and libraries, and I have this weird feeling, and I don't want to be arrogant or anything, but I feel like I know too much, and it's impacting my quality of life. And given that I'm sort of atheistic and stuff, I'm not sure there's anything to help me. I notice everything is dripping with fallacies and nonsense, and then I try to point it out. Or help people, and I get punished and ostracized for it. I lose friends even when they ask me to have these discussions, and then if I try not to say anything, it sort of does my head in. And then I've gone to so-called professionals to try and cope with this, and I know I'm not neurotypical, but I don't think that's necessarily relevant. But all I'm told really is that they either medicate me or tell me, and I quote, lighten up, and I feel like I'm being punished for caring about facts and what's true, and education and religion and politics and history. I'm really getting frustrated and a bit sort of upset about all these sort of issues, and I can't let go of anything I ever learn. And I'm not really sure if I should, considering they're kind of the only stuff that should matter. And sometimes, even though I know the heavens are empty, I find myself wanting to plead and pray, but I know that no one's listening and nobody can help me, and I just can't seem to find any consolation or relief in atheistic, secular, or rational philosophies, and I don't really have any friends or family, so that doesn't really help. But I don't know what to do. I don't know if that's really relevant or appropriate. But it's literally the last place I can think of to go with this kind of stuff. I feel like the parody of the atheist we're told we are, that we're miserable and nihilistic and everything's crap. But I'm starting to feel as though it is.
Well, do you think that your atheism is actually the source of this, or I mean,
I think it prevents a possible remedy. I mean, if I had the luxury of believing in the God and stuff, at least I could be like, hey, Jesus is going to come down and make it all okay. But I can't bring myself to delude myself, and yet.
Let me just. I don't know if this will cheer you up, but you may feel like religious people are happier. But there are a lot of studies that have shown, in some cases, they are a little bit happier, but by and large, the difference is slight, and there are a lot of unhappy Christians out there who need to put on a happy face and act like they have this deep contentment that they feel like they're supposed to have. But Jen, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, there's actually some mixed evidence on this, because it kind of depends on, I guess, the questions you ask and the sort of issues that come up with these discussions. Because there have been some research studies.
I'm a bit of a pop. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, there have been a few research studies done that show that theists actually suffer more, particularly for things like depression, because, you know, Jesus is supposed to make things better, and then when they don't feel better, they feel worse because they feel like, you know, they're not being, you know, a good Christian or whatever because it didn't work.
Right. Although I would jump to point out that depression is a legitimate psychological phenomenon that's not necessarily caused by your circumstances. And it's entirely possible that you could have depression which is perhaps exacerbated by your atheism, but not because of your atheism.
Right. And interestingly enough, it's actually pretty treatable. So depending on the, why you're depressed, it actually may be quite treatable. You said you'd talked to a professional and they wanted to put you on some medication?
Yeah, well, for 6 years I've been around the houses and I've gone through the whole depression, autism, Asperger's, everything, and they have told me I've done all their work for them, and basically the conclusion is it's not depression, it's despair.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
I have reasons for it. I just can't seem to shake off, well, not shake off, or basically reconcile those reasons. And I find myself, and I stay. I'm a bit of a polymath, and I have a slightly eidetic memory, so I don't really forget stuff. And when I learn about terrible things that are happening in the world and corruption in politics, the environment, all this issues with education and theocracies and all this stuff, and it is utterly crushing to my personality, and I can't seem to sort of get over it. But then even if I could, should I? Because it's the only stuff that should matter.
I want to try to address something that you're connecting caring about facts and reality, but you're also saying that you don't have a lot of friends or people that you can turn to. And those are two separate issues. One of the things just give me a minute. I mean, one of the things that I can speak to from my experience is that I'm a nerd. And I had a hard time making friends with people as a high school student. And what a lot of nerds have to come to grip with, like me, as they grow up, is that however smart you might be, there's a whole separate skill set that is communicating with people and getting in touch with them and connecting with people despite the obvious fact that everyone is flawed and has problems. And I think that that's important for all people because everybody needs those connections and everybody needs someone to talk to. And the fact that they hold beliefs that you think are stupid, there is not a single person that I know among my dear friends and family who I haven't had really heated arguments with about something and been convinced that they're completely wrong about something. But that's okay.
I've sort of gone through that and learned those lessons. I can't make friends. I'm very sociable sometimes, and my acquaintances are often surprised how sociable I can be. But it's not by the irony is I sort of run out of places to go, and I've sort of heard it all before, kind of thing. It's not. I mean, I'm a nerd too and everything, but it's not that I can't make friends. It's just about my nature seems to command that I spend my life in solitude, and it bothers me, and I can't. And for example, if I learned about some terribly theocratic law that they're trying to push through in America or whatever, and it really bothers me, and it sticks with me for days, and I never forget it, and I can't bring myself to sort of put that away in the back of my head and go on with my life. I find it overwhelming, and people offer me cliches and platitudes, and I'm really, I'm British, and I'm socially inept, so my honesty, my politeness is crushing. So I'm very courteous and everything with people. It's just, and I've spoken to people, and they said, are you Christian, atheist, whatever? And I said, I just happen to be an atheist. And I said, oh, well, I have very strong Jesus and God beliefs. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, the irony that I'm the tolerant one, and I find myself, I'm the one that seeks advice, and I'm told to change, and I'm told to do this, and told to
Right.
do that, and then I do it, and it doesn't work, and people despise me,
Okay.
and I
That's not your fault.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people
okay,
in the
but
world,
if
and
it's not,
you're
I'm
not
still
going to get
alone,
along with all
and,
of them.
I
Yeah.
can't, and I don't have God to talk to in the dark, so
Yeah.
So I feel like I want to be religious, but I can't
Right.
bring myself to.
Well, you can talk to, God or Thor or
Right.
whatever in the dark if you want. I mean,
I think there are two things that you ought to pursue here. One of them is like finding a group of people with common interests and maybe just mainly talking to them about your common interests if you're afraid that they're going to alienate you that way, because everybody needs some acquaintances to talk to. And I mean, it's England. I can't imagine that there aren't other atheists around you if you
Yeah.
look. I mean,
Yeah,
I
they find me
don't want to be
overbearing.
trite, but like even if getting into a dating site or something that would match you with somebody who has a similar outlook might be a
Yeah,
start.
I tried 6 times, and I've been lied to and abandoned repeatedly.
Yeah.
I've been on dating sites and hobbies stuff, and
Right.
I've matched just hobbies or whatever. And
Well, yeah, that's just one of the things I say. I would also say that maybe you shouldn't rule out that there are still a lot of psychological issues that you ought to work through, and maybe you should talk to some counselors some more.
I've been doing that for 6 years, and they told me there's something really psychologically wrong with me. But
Maybe you should try a different counselor.
In a sense, the doctor can't help you.
Yeah,
And I keep coming back to atheism and
right.
you know, that God thing
I'm just
is either-
cautioning you here not to scapegoat your atheism as the source of all your problems, because there are very happy atheists and there are very
I just
unhappy
said-
Christians.
Sorry. Am I talking to you? But I'm socially inept. Well, not always, but anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, your call's breaking up a little bit, and I think we're probably going to move on here in just a second. But I mean, if you want to try out a religious community, I don't think there's anything that says you can't just go to a church and attend the services, and sometimes they, meet afterwards and have some kind of fellowship following that, and you could just go and talk to people, and you don't have to reveal that you're an atheist if you don't want to.
And there are churches that aren't super religious. I
Yeah.
mean, there are Unitarian churches which might be
Yeah.
a nice place to meet people.
Yeah, but I remember Aaron Ra said something like he went to church and he couldn't stay because he realised everyone was being lied to. And because I care about
Well,
the truth
I mean,
of reality.
if you,
I've been to church and laughed at it, but I've also had good conversations and lasting connections with people who have extremely different viewpoints from me.
Yeah, I mean, it very much depends on the church that you go to. And sometimes you can go there and, most of the times, if you listen to a sermon, for the most part, the mainline Protestant churches, they pick some part of the Bible and they use it to try to connect some aspect of that biblical thing to people's real lives. And if nothing else, if you don't have to believe the religious parts of it. You could take that topic of that sermon and use it as a discussion point for later on. So and if nothing else, just go in, use the Socratic method, and ask people what they believe and why they believe it.
I do.
So.
I can't be there anymore. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's probably slightly inappropriate, isn't it? It's the Atheist Experience. But
No, I mean it's okay. I guess we can't take the whole show trying to solve everything, but
I'm beyond.
I really feel for you, Cade, and I wish you a lot of luck, and I just want you to not give up. All right. Well, we're going to let you go. Good luck to you.
Well,
Great.
thank you anyway for the
Great.
technical
Bye.
difficulties. And happy holidays.
Yeah, you too.
Same to you. Happy holidays.